Hi, I'm Jack. I'm 18 years old and I'd like to find out what career opportunities Treescape can offer me.
The CEO of Treescape, Ed Chignall, will point Jack in the right direction.
G'day Jack, good to meet you. Come on through.
Sweet. So what does Treescape do?
Treescape's an arboricultural company. We look after trees for people, residential clients, for commercial clients, for local councils. We look after all the parks and street trees for some of the councils around New Zealand. We do a lot of land clearing work for developments when they're putting in new properties. We also have a restoration division where we're doing replantings of native species back into areas that need to be restored.
When did you start this company?
Oh, we started about 31 years ago when my best friend and I just left secondary school. So we started doing bits and pieces. We were able to buy our first vehicle. We bought a sort of busted up old Holden Ute. Prior to that, we'd been using my old Volkswagen, which I bought for $400, and you'd put your leg over the gear stick in top gear just to hold it in, otherwise it would pop out. Today, between New Zealand and Australia, we've got 400 staff, and we're right through New Zealand and through Queensland.
Arboriculture can be dangerous work, so before Jack can even look at a tree, he does a 2-day health and safety course with arboriculture guru, Martin Herbert.
What sort of hazards do you think you've got using a chainsaw?
After Jack has completed the theory, it's time for some training in the field. There are over 400 skilled people working for Treescape in a variety of exciting and challenging careers across the country. It's interesting because the nature of the work means you're not on a job for more than 2 or 3 days before you move on to the next. And today, Jack will get some one-on-one training with arborist Lawrence Schicker.
Okay, Jack, we've got to come into this park and look for storm damage. We've had quite a bit of nasty weather lately.
Okay.
Being an arborist, you're going to need to have a good knowledge of trees.
Yep.
Here we've got the Lophostemen confertus, which is an Australian box.
Okay.
A eucalyptus.
Yep.
A Moreton Bay fig. And a poplar, which is from Europe.
Sorry.
Okay, it might be a bit daunting at first, but everything's got a botanical name.
Yep.
It's sort of like Ford Falcon.
Okay.
Okay? Don't freak out on that. It's all good.
Why do you need to know the names of the species?
Different trees have different pruning requirements. We have to learn how to do proper pruning cuts that enhance the tree's defence mechanisms and not work against the tree.
Okay.
On a correct pruning cut, you'll see what we call a callousing.
Yeah.
Then it should go right around the pruning cut here. Not quite right here, but pretty close.
Yeah.
Okay, if you look up here, Jack, this is what a correct pruning cut should look like. It's fully calloused over, so they've hit the money on that cut. What we have here, Jack, is a massive big pruning cut. It's quite an old tree. There's no way that it can compartmentalise. It just hasn't got the energy.
It's too big.
That's it. So the general rule is we want to prune small branches and more often, rather than just the one big hit.
A bad pruning cut like this can ultimately kill the tree.
And as you can hear, she's hollow in there.
Yep.
So that tree's pretty well doomed. It's on its last legs. That's it, causing a hazard, so it'll have to come out in the near future. Okay, I've just noticed a torn limb over there. I think the tree is a swamp cypress. That's from North America.
Okay.
Can you see that limb? That poses a hazard to the public if that comes down.
Yeah. Just
Okay.
hanging there.
That's the one. We might have to look at removing that. First thing you've got is your climbing harness. You've got an array of carabiners. On here we have a climbing hitch. We'll have to teach you a few nights before you get up there. We have your climbing line or your lifeline. Then we'll be using the top-handle chainsaw. Okay, now we've got to try and get you up that tree. We've got to install our rope. So we have to make what we call our monkey's fist. It allows us to throw the rope up from the ground and maybe an overhand throw and just visualise the shot, brother. We in?
Yep.
Well done. We have to put our climbing hitch onto the rope, sit in your harness.
This climbing hitch knot grips the rope it is wrapped around when under the weight of Jack's body, but it moves freely when his weight is released, allowing Jack to manoeuvre his way up the tree.
That's good. Go for it, brother. She's all yours. I hope you're not afraid of heights, mate.
But Jack won't be alone up the tree. Lawrence climbs up to give him some advice.
Now we have to remove the sub-branch here, so we have to do an undercut for a start to prevent any tearing, and then a top cut. Nice shot. We have to identify like a branch collar. It's good for the old arm muscles, mate. That's it. You've got to make sure you've had your wheat bits for breakfast, buddy. Hey, just don't pull it, just let the saw do the work.
So, Lawrence, what do you enjoy about your job?
Oh, it's a good physical job. Okay, you don't have to go to the gym when you're an arborist. You're getting all your training on site. There's really good camaraderie. It's mates looking after mates to make sure we're working all safe. And you feel proud in what you've achieved each day.
To remove the larger hazardous branch, Jack will need something a little more powerful than a pruning saw.
Just reach out a little bit and do an undercut. A little bit further out would be good. Awesome. A little bit more, mate. That's fine. Do your top cut just inside that cut that you've done. Just back this side, Jack, of it. There you go, well done. How was that?
All good?
A little bit freaky?
Yeah.
Well done, brother, well done.
To remove the hazardous branch, Jack needs to cut the limb into smaller, more manageable sections.
All clear below.
Things are going well, but arborists always need to keep an eye on each other's safety.
Swoop your carabiner, look at this, it's quite a hazard. Look at your carabiner just coming undone. It's come forward a bit, sweet. Get that carabiner opened,
Yeah.
and it rubbed on that branch. Okay, I've never really seen that happen before, but it is a potential hazard. I'll get you to remove that branch now if you could, mate. Get rid of that hazard totally.
Okay.
Good man. All clear below. Shot, mate. Now we've got to identify our branch collar.
This final cut is the most important. If he doesn't do it right, a big wound like this could cause more damage to the tree in the future.
100%. How do you feel about that, mate?
Well, that was cool, eh?
And a good finished product.
Back on the ground, Lawrence discovers evidence of what caused the break, an old wound that weakened the branch.
There's a classic example of an old pocket of decay. Might have been an old tear or a wound from years ago. You can see how the tree has walled off that decay and continued to grow.
So what type of school subjects would be useful in arboriculture?
You need a basic grasp for the English language. You might be interested in a bit of biology or some of the sciences.
When does the science part come into it?
Well, basically, when you want to become a qualified arborist, you'll learn more about tree health and tree biology. You'll do block courses to get your certificate or your diploma in arboriculture. You start looking at things a bit more in depth.
Okay.
And that's the difference basically between just any old tree cutter and a qualified arborist.
Now Jack has finished pruning, they use the chipper to tidy up.
So how was that, mate?
Oh, it was really good. I really enjoyed it, the climbing, and yeah, it was just cool. That's something I want to get into.
To be an arborist, you need to be physically fit, not be afraid of heights, and enjoy working outside. A Level 4 arboriculture qualification is the minimum required to be a recognised arborist. There are two main ways to get this qualification. Treescape will pay for all your training while working, which usually takes about 2 years to complete, or studying 1 year full-time at Otago Polytechnic or Waikato Institute of Technology.